Good morning, it's Trisha with Easy E-mini Trade, and I'm just going to do another video more on order flow and footprint chart. And I'm doing a webinar on Wednesday the 24th. If you want to get more detailed information where I can explain things a little bit further, just go to my site, easyeminitrade.com, click on the webinar tab at the top, and all the information is there. Okay, so let's get started. All right, so what you're looking at is the NQ, and this is pre-market. So I chose to do this pre-market because we're going to have a lot less orders flowing in here, so it's a little easier to see. So I have a 1-minute chart on the right and a 1-minute chart of the footprint chart on the left. And as I mentioned the other day in that video, I'm using MZ Pack's order flow. I really like it because I like this little summary it gives up top. It's really easy to see, so that's my preference. And of course, this is NinjaTrader 8. If you're using NinjaTrader 8, you can use the volumetric bars. You don't get nearly the information on those, in my opinion. And if you're using Sierra, you'll use numbers bars. So lots of options out there, but this is for Ninja 8, and I'm really happy with it. You can customize everything on here, what you want to see on your little summary down here as well. So I've got volume, delta, and delta percentage down there. And you can customize filters as well, like if you want to just filter out and see big orders coming in. So everything is fully customizable to your likes and dislikes. So this is the way I have it set up. Okay, so order flow, generally you're going to watch at areas of reference. So for example, if you look at this 1-minute chart here, so if I just open this up a little bit, this green line here, and I'm not saying that we're going to be trading NQ at 6 a.m. Eastern. You know, it's not something that I would typically trade at that time. I usually wait till a little bit later, even if I'm going to trade it pre-market. It's going to be closer to after news at 8:30 unless there's a lot of volume coming in. But this dashed line that you see up here is yesterday's high, and then this yellow one, I know it's a little hard to see, this is yesterday's close. And I've got cumulative delta on here, and then this is just the double stochastic that I use for a 1-minute setup that I trade. So we're looking for reactions at reference areas. So maybe we want to short here, like as it retraces back up to yesterday's high here and here. Then maybe we want to take a breakdown here as it breaks this area of support. Or maybe we want to take it as a breakdown under yesterday's close. How do we know what to do? So admittedly, footprint chart is forming always really quickly. And so basically you have to have a plan ahead of time on what you're looking to do at those reference areas. So I'm going to just draw a line where yesterday's close and high is, so you can see it on the footprint chart. All right, so I'll just start like right here. I won't go back too far so I can keep this video hopefully on the shorter side. So right here on a 1-minute chart is the 1-minute chart over here. And you don't have to have them match. You don't have to use the same size on your footprint chart. You can. Some people use a 15-minute. I just find it easier to decipher on a 1-minute. You can use a range chart, tick chart, so whatever you want. So right here is right here. So you can see that earlier we traded, we traded a little bit lower here, bounced off of yesterday's close. Like I said, it might be a little hard to see this yellow line, but it's right here. I'll put this here so you can see it right there. All right, so that's yesterday's close right there at 47. So you can see it traded down, and you get these bottoming tails here, right? So what that tells us, even just looking at a candlestick chart, is price traded down, buyers stepped up. Price trade down, buyers stepped up, and they pushed it back up to resistance here, right? So here, when it trades back down, it doesn't quite trade to yesterday's close, but it bounces off this support level here, And we've got our fair value area low here. That's the blue shaded area. So that's fair value area low. And then it bounces back up to yesterday's high. So previously it held up there. So if I wanted to take a trade here, I could short here, right? Because we know it's resistance. We knew it previously held. But the scary part for most traders is, okay, well, how do I know this is going to hold this time and not break out? So there are a couple things. If you look at your footprint chart, and remember, this is pre-market, and I did this specifically so the numbers are small, but you'll see that as price is trading up here on this bar, hits yesterday's high, doesn't trade through it, and then you get the next bar, and it tries to get through it, right? And then you get this number here, this 10, and that's in comparison to the rest of the bar. That's a big number, right? So if you look at that, and you can see that you've got this green outline here, that's telling us that all those buyers were absorbed by the sellers. So now we're getting a clue here. Okay, this is struggling here up here at this area of resistance. So then on the next bar, like when you see that the buyers can't push it through here, you have a couple options. You can just place a sell order here under yesterday's high, or you could just do an order under this candle here, the previous candle. It's totally up to you how you enter, based on your analysis. But when I look over here at this 1 minute here, I can see right here on these bars, I've got equal highs. Well, on my stochastic line, I'm just going to use my green stochastic line here, I have a lower high here than here. So that already is giving me a clue that we're probably going to pull back off of this area. So I'm already watching for it. And then when I don't see the buyers step up to push it through, and then I get those buyers absorbed, then I'm willing to attempt that down to the next area of support. So support would be down here at this 49 area where it last held. And then if it can get through there, then I would be looking at yesterday's close. So if you're already in the trade, then you can ride it through yesterday's close as it breaks down. So what this looked like at that as it got there, so I'm just going to speed ahead here. So here is this area where it's tagging yesterday's close right here at 6:48, 6:49, 6:50 time. So if you're already in, let's say, and you want to ride it for more, then you want to see some sellers coming in. And don't forget, we've got our summary here. We've got our summary also telling us when we have an imbalance. So when you see that this red number on the left, 58.79, 41.25, for example, in this on this bar, or up here, 62.35 and 37.65, you could see on the left side that we have a sell imbalance, right? So here we would be a little bit cautious at first as we're approaching yesterday's close. You can see that we've got definitely more sellers coming in. We've got a negative delta, but notice here as it tries to get through, right here where we get this sell imbalance at 15, and it's a sell imbalance, I know, because I have them to show up in yellow, and then you get this red box. So that's telling me that those sell orders were absorbed. So initially, we get this little bounce as it tries to get through yesterday's close, but notice on the next bar, as it's getting back up above yesterday's close, it tries to go higher, right? It trades up here because you can see my candle. And then you can see these buy orders here. You get an imbalance of 16, right? I have it marked in bright green. And then the numbers decrease. So what this is telling us, this is a little bit of a heads up that this is either going to hold this area or continue through. So what you'd want to see is you want to see some sellers stepping in on there, right? So we still have a positive delta here, but it's very small in comparison to the volume on the bar. And so you're just kind of watching that area. So if you were already short, then you could just move your stop above yesterday's close. If you were looking to enter in under yesterday's close, what I would look for is, I got this bottoming tail here. We talked about it. You can look on a higher time frame, a 15 or a 5, but pre-market you could get away with a 1 minute. So I can look to take a breakdown under this tail. And the reason I say that is because if buyers stepped up here last time, buyers are likely going to attempt to step up again. And if buyers step up there, where would they put their stop? They would put their stop likely, right? If they're buying, they're probably going to put their stop somewhere under this candle here. So what happens when price breaks through that, you can get a quick influx of sell orders getting hit, which are stops. So what you have to remember is that just because you see buyers coming in or sellers coming in, it doesn't mean that they're actually getting into the market. Those sell orders could be buyers getting out of the market, or the sellers could be buyers, the buyers could be sellers getting out of the market. So either way, right, they're not necessarily people going short or people buying, right? Those could be stop orders getting hit. So you can see as we break this 46 area right here, and I'm just going to draw a line right here. As we break that 46 area, where we got this bottoming tail, notice what happens. You get this big influx of sell orders getting hit, right? So that's ideal for what we want to see if we're looking to take a breakdown or if we're already short from yesterday's high, right? And then what you'll notice is that you can see them starting to get absorbed down here again. So these two candles are right here. And so by absorbed, I mean you're getting sell orders here, right? We got a big influx of sell imbalance. And then you can see that we've got this red box that's telling me the sell orders are being absorbed by the buyers. Then at the bottom here, you can see the number is pretty small, right? It's 1. So there's not a lot of sellers coming in there again. Then you can see here on the next candle, now you get an influx of buy imbalance. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to change direction, but it means, if you're short, then, maybe you're going to tighten your stop. You're not looking to take another short, but you can manage to trade that you're already in. And then, so basically what I would be looking for then is I would be looking for a retracement back to yesterday's close to see if it can hold and look to take a short off there. So here we are back up to yesterday's close. Here's where we are right here, right? Same area. So this is telling me the same as this. So I'm watching this to see if I can short off there again, right? So I don't want to short unless I'm convinced that the buyers aren't going to try to push it all the way back up, to 49 or yesterday's high. So we don't want to see a lot of buyers up here in a big way. So you can see that it's testing it. Then here, so here you can see that you've got 11, 10, and then 5, right? So if the buyers were going to come in, these numbers would continue to be larger, right? Not smaller. Then the next bar, you can see it's holding still, and we're still not getting a lot of big numbers here on buyers. And then even if you waited till the third bar, right, you can see green bar, and again you get a big number up there, 10. And I say it's big in comparison to what we have going on pre-market. So this is telling us that it's trying to get through, and it can't. So that is, ideal for us trying to take a short off there. And we already know it's an area that we're looking to take a short. So you could short off there, and you can use a fairly tight stop. You can use go above these bars here, because realistically, if it breaks above these bars, then it's likely to trade up to the 49. And then if it gets to 49, it'll likely trade back up to yesterday's high. And then look what happens. We get another big influx of huge sell imbalance here, right? Many levels. And then down here, as we're hitting our first deviation away from fair value here, if you use a market profile, you can see that we get a low number here, 5, 32, 50, big number here, 134. But look at the buy side. We got big buy imbalance here. So what that's telling us is that the buyers are stepping up here at this level of support, right? We don't know that they're going to push it all the way back up, but that would be a clue. If you were short and you saw that, you would just be paying attention that, okay, we have some buyers coming in, so you might want to tighten your stop. But if you get a lot of buyers coming in and it's not moving higher, let's say on the next bar, then realistically that's telling us it's weak, right? So next bar doesn't really do a whole heck of a lot. You know, it just hangs around here in the area where we have this big imbalance. Here, it attempts higher again, right? So it's still not ready to do anything. But again, when you see that you've got this imbalance on the left side here of sellers, and then down towards the lower part of the candle, and you'll see this as it's forming, the numbers are not getting bigger, they're getting smaller. And then you look at your delta, and this obviously is going to be plotting real time, and I'll scroll ahead so you can see what it looks like real time. So this is telling us that the sellers are not stepping up here again, and this has a good chance of retracing, you know, back up. You can look even here, this area here that created some resistance here under yesterday's close. So you'd be looking for it to retrace back up to there or yesterday's close. And so then you can see it retraces back up to that area. And that's the area about where, you know, I mentioned taking that breakdown, remember, under this bottoming tail. So we would look for the reaction there again. Here it is, you get buyers, and then the numbers on the buy side are not very large, but we don't know if they're going to step up on the next bar or not. And here we go, we're tagging it again, starting out there on the next candle. So once again, you could decide to short off there and use a tight stop, or if you're, you know, not comfortable with it, you're thinking it's going to trade up here to yesterday's close, you can wait it out. If you wait it out, you might have missed the entry. But if you don't have the buyers stepping up here and you don't have a big buy imbalance or a big positive delta, then you could aggressively, you know, opt to short that. So I'm just going to scroll ahead here just so you can see where we're at, so you can see what it looks like real time. And so here we are. So looks like we broke above yesterday's close here. So what time was that? So let's just go there so we can see 7:30. Where is that? All right, so what time is that? 7:28. All right, so here we are. So here's where it's breaking above, right here. So here it hits it, which is right here. That's right here. You get the buyers being absorbed, right? Then the next bar, you can see the buyers step up again, and you get a buy imbalance. And then you can see the buyers stepping up again. These bright green are the buy imbalance. So once you start to see that and it's pushing higher, then you're going to be a little bit cautious until you see that it's hitting a new area of resistance, for example, and then you see those buy orders being absorbed. So when you get those green outlines there, the buyers are being absorbed by the sellers there. So if the buys are being absorbed, then it's going to have a hard time moving higher. So if you look over here, if you use the volume profile or like a high period moving average, you can see it's hitting right here on the 90 period moving average. And so those orders are being absorbed. So that'd be a heads up that it could pull back from here. I'm not saying you could that you want to take a short from there, but that would be your clue if those buy orders are being absorbed. And like I said, if you look at this real time, I'll go back here 1 second. I forgot to show you one other thing. As it's breaking the close here again, right here, you can see that you get that big influx of sell imbalance, and that's that bright yellow on the left. Then you could see the red outline here. So those sell orders are being absorbed by the buyers now as it's breaking down through that area. So you'd be a little cautious on anything that you did if you see that they're being absorbed. And then you can see then it kind of hangs around yesterday's close again. And then it is looking like it wants to change its bias here a little bit. This is a big number here for positive delta. You can see this 429 here. That's huge in comparison to all the orders that you see that have come in on, you know, quite a few bars, right? So that would be definitely giving you a clue that if you have those buyers, a big number of buyers coming in here, and this can't break down, then it's probably going to try to bounce back up to the next, back up to yesterday's close in this example. And then kind of, you can see it teeters around here. And then you get a buy imbalance up here. And it's not huge numbers, but you can see now we're, going positive delta, positive delta. So it just takes a little practice deciphering it. And I'm not going to say it's easy, but it just takes a little bit of practice and a plan based on what you're seeing on another chart other than the footprint chart, in my opinion. I couldn't just look at a footprint chart and take trades. And, admittedly, this is going to keep changing all the time. So you could make your evaluation that, okay, if this gets up to yesterday's high, I'm going to short it. And, you're watching the orders come in and you're thinking, okay, it's not there yet, but let's just pretend that we have the price bar coming up here to yesterday's high again, and we don't see the buyers stepping up, and then we go short, and then the buyers step up. There's no guarantees in trading, you guys. We're just doing the best to decipher the information that we have at our fingertips. Okay, so I hope that you find that helpful. Like I said, I can go into more detail on Wednesday. So if you're interested, come to the webinar, and you'll get the recording as well as the slides if you can't make it real time. Okay, you guys, have a fantastic weekend, and we'll talk with you all soon.